आशा का करें उजाला। हो कलयुग बीत रहा है, अब है सतयुग आने वाला। आओ शिव का ध्यान धरें।
स्मृतियाँ हमारे मन की स्थिति को बनाती हैं कि अब हमें इस डायलॉग को समाप्त करके पुनः अपने अपने स्थान पर लौटना है। इसलिए जब हम लौट रहे हैं, लौटने की बात करते हैं, तो ये भी साथ हमारे मन में आता है कि यहाँ आए, ये 2 दिन बीते, क्या उपलब्धियां रही, क्या साथ में लेकर के हम जा रहे हैं, और कैसे ये हमारे आने वाले जीवन को एक नई दिशा देंगे, उसके लिए ज़रूर सबका मनन चल रहा होगा। आज के इस सत्र का बहुत सुंदर विषय रखा गया है कि जो आने वाला उज्जवल भविष्य है, उसके लिए जो नेतृत्व करेगा, उसकी क्या उसका जीवन, उसका व्यक्तित्व में कितनी विशेषताएं होंगी, प्रेरणा स्रोत होगा, और कैसे वो अपने जीवन से, अपनी विशेषताओं से दूसरों को प्रभावित करेगा और आने वाले उज्जवल भविष्य के निर्माण में सहयोगी बनेगा। ये कुछ ऐसे विषय हैं जिन पर हमारे बहुत ही अनुभवी वक्तागण हमारे मध्य यहाँ विराजमान हैं, उनके हम विचार सुनेंगे। बहुत ही ये विषय में जो आज का ये टॉपिक इस सत्र का रखा हुआ है, उसमें बहुत रहस्य है, क्योंकि जब ये डायलॉग आरंभ हुआ था शांति वन में, तब एक बात कही गई थी कि सबकी ये कल्पना रही, संकल्प रहा कि राम राज्य जैसा राज्य कोई नहीं है, वह व्यवस्था उसका सब गायन करते हैं। और हमारे देश के निर्माण में जिनका मुख्य पार्ट है स्वतंत्रता के संग्राम में, बापू गांधी जी ने भी उसके लिए कहा कि राम राज्य की स्थापना करेंगे। देश आज़ाद हुए को आज कितना वर्ष हो गए, मगर राम राज्य के लिए किसी ने राम जैसा राजा बनाने की क्या प्रयास रहे हमारे, वो हमारे सामने हैं। अगर हम राम राज्य लाना चाहते हैं तो राम जैसा राजा भी तो चाहिएगा, वो व्यक्तित्व भी चाहिएगा जो उसका नेतृत्व कर सके। यही विषय आज रखा गया है कि अगर हमने किसी उज्जवल भविष्य का निर्माण करना है तो नेतृत्व जो उसका लेगा, उसकी विशेषताएं, उसका जीवन कैसे हम बना पाएंगे। आदरणीय ब्रह्मा कुमारी डेनिस बहन जी, आप यहाँ पर माउंट आबू में ही वर्तमान में यहाँ ही रहते हैं, और हमारे जो भी कार्य प्रोग्राम्स, कॉन्फ्रेंसेस वगैरह होते हैं या ट्रेनिंग्स वगैरह, उनके आप फैकल्टी मेंबर हैं। और यहाँ आने से पहले आप यूएसए में भी एज ए राज योगा टीचर रहे हैं। आपका इस विद्यालय में आना हुआ जब हमारा सेवा केंद्र लंदन में खुला, सेवाएं आरंभ हुई। बहुत लंबे अरसे से आप इस ईश्वर विश्वविद्यालय के साथ जुड़े हुए हैं, बहुत अनुभवी राज योगा टीचर हैं। मैं आपसे निवेदन करता हूं कि आप आज के इस विषय को आरंभ करें। आदरणीय ब्रह्मा कुमारी डेनिस बहन जी।
Om Shanti. Beloved brothers and sisters, Dadi Janki ji, and all of you who have come here, I would like to just share briefly a few points which are inspirations that I have taken from my 30 years of study and practice here with the Brahmakumaris. And I would like to mention especially the beautiful and inspirational guidance I have received from Dadi Janki ji personally. We are in time metamorphosis. We speak of these times as Purushottam Sangam Yuga, the period of change, the confluence in which a human being can rise to the highest possible condition. And I compare it with the metamorphosis image, the caterpillar who changes magically into the butterfly. The future that we have seen from the inside and also from our calculations and our analysis of the way time works shows us that the omens of fortune are in fact shifting from the west to the east. Everyone in the world is looking for inspiration to India because India is the origin of spiritual power. What is needed in the world today is actually purity. Because when you have purity, then you develop internal power. Internal power is not the power to overcome someone weaker than yourself. This is ordinary power or physical power, which we have seen and which brings suffering. Internal power is a spiritual power, and it is not possible to develop internal power by yourself alone. Many have tried since millennia. It is only possible to develop inner power, inner spiritual power, when you know how to make a connection with the divine source, which we call God. And here in India, in every street, in every field, in every corner, in every home, you will see a temple. And in those temples, you will see the image of Vishnu. It has been told to us that the kings of India are even now considered by the people in the villages as the incarnation of Vishnu and revered as such. What is that incarnation of Vishnu? I have been learning through Raj Yoga what are the elements that enable you as an individual person to accumulate these qualities. I have learned here in Brahmakumaris that Vishnu is the empowered human being, the combination of Lakshmi Narayan, the balance of perfection in femininity, perfection in masculinity, who hold 4 divine symbols. The symbols have deep meaning, and these symbols are necessary for the attitudes and inspirational leadership which exist within the kingly person, the kingly leader. These symbols, the swastika, which had been used in its opposite direction to create harm, to create loss. But nevertheless, it was an attempt to attain that leadership. But first, before you have the kingly status in an externalized form, there has to be self-sovereignty. So I have learned that change, development, progress takes place at the micro level. The micro level means first you have to change yourself. I've learned that you only have jurisdiction over yourself. I've learned that you have to be a master over your 5 sense organs, over your mind, over your powers of understanding, your ego, your intellect, your sanskaras. And these symbols of Vishnu represent this attainment. And I have learned that by studying Raj Yoga, as we study here, slowly, over many years, you gradually achieve this great thing. And it is also not just a personal achievement, but it is a gift. It is a divine gift which is given to us from the Supreme Being, who is the creator, who is the maker of the human being. And the incarnation of Vishnu is considered as the incarnation of God. And we can understand this, that God has gifted the wisdom, the knowledge, the inner power, the beauty, the love, the peace, and infused these into those souls who love him and enabled them to become divine people, which we call deities. These are the ancient kings and queens of India. And what I have learned is that time for this civilization to return is approaching. And this time is calling us to allow and to work for these qualities to come into the self. And this is what we learn here in our simple form, in our simple buildings. We learn this wonderful study. The swastika simply means to know the self, to have mastery over the self. And how do you have this, which is shown spinning on the index finger of Vishnu? What is this? This is the movement of the cycle of lives, the cycle of the world, which is made up of the extremes, all the way from perfection to imperfection, which we must be equal in the face of. When we have this, then we can have purity in our mind. If we have purity in our mind, then the power of the mind can be used to bring benefit first to the self, and automatically and necessarily it goes to an unlimited extent. The Shankh, held in the other hand of Vishnu, represents the power of pure words. And as you know, the word is the breath upon which the idea is carried, the communication of truth with love and respect. This communication, verbal communication, allows for the divine wisdom to be spread throughout one's own self, one's family, one's community. And when you think and speak based in truth, based in purity, you will not do any harm. You will only bring benefit. The lotus flower teaches us to act detached, beautiful, in a pure way. We have learned not to look at the results, not to look for the results, to do the pure action and then cast it into the ocean, and to have faith in the laws of karma, that when you have purity in the mind, the words, and the actions, only good can take place. You do not have to worry what will happen to you. You can have faith. It will be good. And the last symbol, the gada, the mace. A king has to have power. Otherwise, it's not a king. The power that is represented by the mace is the power to discern what is illusion, what is artificial, what is fake, and to oppose what is evil, that can deceive the self, and to finish it off. When we study in this way, focusing on the microcosm of the self, and we invoke the remembrance of God, which is a purifying power that cleans the soul and beautifies the soul, then this microcosm becomes perfected, slowly, slowly. And one must then have the faith and the understanding that through the assiduous work that one does on one's own self for personal self-sovereignty, automatically and necessarily, the rest are empowered, the rest follow. Because it is a spiritual law which we have learned here, that whatever it is that you do, whatever you think, whatever you say, whatever you feel, how you respond to things, how you interpret things, others will observe that and they will follow. This is the leadership that we have been learning here. So thank you very much for your attention. Om Shanti.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद डेनिस बहन जी। बहुत संक्षिप्त में और सार रूप में आपने ये बात कही कि एक अच्छा नेतृत्व दूसरों को प्रेरणादायक बनने के लिए आंतरिक शक्तियों के विकास की ज़रूरत है और उसके लिए हमें ईश्वर से जुड़ना होगा और उससे कैसे वो शक्तियाँ विकसित होती हैं, विष्णु के चतुर्भुज विष्णु के जो अलंकार हैं उनके ऊपर आपने बहुत अच्छी तरह स्पष्ट किया। और अब मैं निवेदन कर रहा हूँ सिरोही के युवराज इंदेश्वर सिंह जी से कि वह आज के इस विषय पर अपने विचार रखेंगे। परमादरणीय युवराज इंद्रेश्वर सिंह जी।
With salutations to the Almighty, who pervades in the entire universe and yet resides in each one of us as the Atmic reality. Revered Dadiji, Nirvair Bhai, and members of the Holy Commune of the Brahmakumaris, Your Highnesses, and respected members and elders of the Royal Fraternity, dear sisters and brothers on the spiritual path. We congregate to reflect upon the glories of our forefathers, those valiant warriors who continued to strive to protect the nation at the cost of their very lives against an endless stream of cascading plunderers who were wanton destroyers of art, culture, religion in their relentless pursuit for power and pelf. We pay a grand tribute to the wise royal statesmen of the past who carved out their empires magnificently, at times even in hostile environments, both in Bharat and abroad, at times by disemboweling a mountain, perched upon withering heights, in the scorching sands of the desert, and yet laid a blazing trail of glory and prosperity. Our hearts would surely unite in ovation to the visionary Maharajas, patrons of art and culture, grantors of largesse and charity, and above all, guardians of the Sanatan Dharma, right from the Vedic age till just about 50 years ago. It would indeed not be erroneous to let our hearts be filled with pride that the very blood that flows in our vein belongs not only to the kings of yore, but to the very makers of history. But alas, time renders history as a subject of a captivating past, and we are rudely awakened to the reality of the present, wherein seemingly destiny has contrived to dethrone the monarchy and place therein lieu a chaotic, eternally unstable musical chair of greedy despots whose malicious cacophony of ever-changing tunes can only be orchestrated into a single discorded symphony with the underlying chord of I, me, and mine. Thank you. But then, in the cosmic dance, change is constant. The very same Lord, eons ago, deemed it wise to let the dinosaurs who ruled the globe then to be fossilized into history, and allowed the creepy-crawly cockroaches who prevailed then to march into the future. Mysterious are the ways of God. We must learn to trust and abide and love His inimicable ways. At such a point of time, the inner voice beseeches us to look within the inner recesses of the mind and heart, whether in this act of God there exists a hidden divine benediction. And whilst we are wondering, holy leaders and Dadiji sound the clarion call, fear not, because in the darkest hour of Kali, we can just be a moment away from the grandeur of the spiritual dawn of the world. And whilst we would be happy and content to sit with crossed fingers and crossed legs, with abated breath to await the golden era, we are once again reminded that it is not by merely sitting, but by introspection, by using this time, the interim period, to embellish ourselves with the dharmic virtues which the kings of yore possessed, that we would be able to accomplish this holy task that God has set out for us, wherein we may be able to play a leading role in whichever manner for the peace and prosperity of the populace at large in the golden era of Satyug to come. In my own humble opinion, I believe that we need to strive in the twin tasks of self-inquiry and selfless service. By self-inquiry, I mean delving deep inside into a spiritual journey, a soul-searching journey, to try and weed out those weaknesses and vices that inhibit us and form a veil wherein we do not realize our divine legacy. But I would elaborate far more greater upon selfless service. This has been beautifully encapsulated in these words: hands that serve the society are holier than lips which merely pray. It is indeed true that neither wealth, nor power, nor position can bestow upon mankind its most precious gift of love and inner peace. This can be most easily accomplished and attained by the karma marg's way of selfless service. By selfless service, I do not mean mammoth tasks of philanthropy. I am talking about the small good deeds that one can do in their own little ways. At times, the grandeur of a major task or a major charitable project may be counterproductive, for it may lead the transient mind into a vortex of an ever-burgeoning ego. But thank God, in the divine charter, it is the feeling which is of primordial importance and not its manifestation into action. Earlier, on a different gathering, I remember one of my friends had sought refuge in the sayings of Shankaracharya by saying that selfless service is not required, and therefore I'd like to clarify upon the same. Koti Kanya Mahadanam Tilaparvata Kotayaha Kanchanan Shailatanena Ekabilvam Shivarpanam. The meaning of this shloka, which forms a stanza in the Bilvashtakam, says that it would indeed suffice to place merely a Bilvapatra leaf on the shivling, and one would gain the merit as of having performed the marriage of 1,000,000 maidens, of having given a mountain of sesame seeds in charity, of having given a mountain of gold in alms. But then on deeper reflection, one realizes that what Shankaracharya ji was talking about is Hridaya Pushpam, the blossom of the heart, Ananda Bhashyam, Nayanam Toyam, the waters of bliss and love from the eyes, and Shariram Patram, the kaya which is considered as a leaf. So this is what you need to give to God, is unconditional surrender to the Lord. And we are not talking of a mere leaf that you put onto the Shivalingam. By this means, my friend I think had thought of, it's something like in Christianity, we say that when God gave the 10 commandments, he had not anticipated any amendments. Anyway, moving back from the jest, to do selfless service, the bosom must be filled with pure, unsullied love. This love is the fairest flower that blossoms in God's garden. I am not talking of the love that is present today in the materialistic world, where love is the quest, marriage a conquest, and then unfortunately divorce many a times the inquest. Such puppy love, beware, may be a prelude to a dog's life. Where there is love, there is faith. And faith has been beautifully extolled in this shloka. Mukam karoti vachalam, pangum langayate girim, yat kripa tvam aham vande, parmananda madhavam. That is, if the grace of God reciprocates upon you in direct proportion to your faith and love for Him, a dumb person can talk, a lame person can cross a mountain. Yes, indeed, doubt creates mountains, faith conquers them. Thank you. In the end, I would like to say, let us all endeavor to taste the ambrosia of self-inquiry and selfless services. The world has seen many spiritual beacons who have lit the way. We all know the way. The need of the hour are torch bearers who will guide us hand in hand in the spiritual sojourn. And in this sphere, the Brahm Kumaris, under the able leadership of Dadijis, have done yeoman service to humanity. And we are profoundly grateful to you for having convened this conference, wherein we are made aware of our inner divinity, so that we may one day help to strive and achieve what God has ordained for us. We look forward to the blossoming of this wonderful relationship. At the end, I would like to end with a saying, Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Thank you.
रोमांचिक शब्दों में आपने बहुत संक्षिप्त में और बहुत ही प्रेरणादायक बातें कहीं। आपका सार ही यही रहा कि आत्मनिरीक्षण करें, निस्वार्थ सेवा करें, और सबसे बड़ा समर्पण है सब कुछ ईश्वर के आगे समर्पण कर देना। और ये शायद हमारे युवराज जी को यहाँ दिखाई दे रहा है कि यहाँ असंख्य भाई और बहनें अपना समूर्ण समर्पण करके इस कार्य को आगे बढ़ा रहे हैं। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। और अब मैं निवेदन कर रहा हूँ राजकोट से आए हुए युवराज जडेजा जी से, परम आदरणीय युवराज जडेजा जी से मैं निवेदन करता हूं कि वह अपने विचार रखेंगे।
ओम शांति। Revered, respected Dadiji, beloved brothers and sisters of this institution, distinguished guests sitting here, and my family, which is spread all over India, just across me. In which words do we express our sense of gratitude to this institution for having called us? In which words do we express our sense of thankfulness for giving us a recognition? I am very intentionally using the word recognition. In which words I fail to express. लेकिन यहाँ पे मैं एक चीज़ ज़रूर ऐड करना चाहूँगा कि हमारा पूरा परिवार, हमारी फैमिलीज जो अलग अलग एरिया से पधारे हुए हैं, वो यहाँ रॉयल होम में आने के बाद रॉयल फैमिलीज बनी हैं। We have come to a place, we have come to the royal home, and we are now wanting to be royal individuals. This is a training ground for us. If we are to learn from history, then we get inspiration from history. And if we are to get inspiration from history, our attitude automatically, naturally changes. It's a beautiful subject. Attitudes and inspirational leadership for the bright future, where inspiration and attitude are interconnected. जैसे पहले के ज़माने में even the princes used to take military training. Even the princes, they used to take good education to become better administrators. There used to be a laid out training program for them. For military training in Dehradun, there was a course by the name of Cadet Corps, which was going on at that time in 1900. There were different educational institutions for the princes. The way we have Rajkumar College, Rajkot, the Rajkot to which I belong, started in 1870, and it used to cater to the princes' education so that they become ideal administrators. आज ही हम सुबह जब मेडिटेशन के सेशन में गए हुए थे, तब वहाँ पे कहा कि एक राजा मंदिर में जाया करता था और भगवान जो उनको देते थे वो राजा लोगों को देता था। तो हमारे फैमिलीज के लिए ये एक मंदिर है और हम आपके पास से लेने के लिए आए हैं ताकि हम कुछ दूसरों को दे सकें। For 2 days we have listened to the music of life. सुमधुर संगीत जो हमने सुना है, तो आपने हमको यहाँ पे बुला के, why do you want me to make a noise? We are here to gain from you. We are here to understand from you. We are here to get inspiration from you. We are here to gain from you. And we do not intend that in this institution where we have the intellectual think tanks, the researchers, the professors, I could be just very humble to say that why should I make a noise? I was just going through this brochure, and some of the lines, they really drew my attention. And they were that the qualities of a Raj Rishi, a wise king, are wisdom, humility, clarity of vision and love. Transmission of these essential ingredients throughout society together with judicious use of our natural treasures and human resources will certainly reinstate the former spiritual and cultural brilliance of Bharat. I would like to add something here. I would like to say that every individual has the potential, every individual has a base to become a king. And when we see here thousands of people coming, visiting the institution, the branches of this institution, about 7,000 in number in this country, and many more in 85 different countries, how many people take the benefit of this institution? Remarkable. The function of this institution would be that every individual has the potential to become a king. The basic ingredients can be imbibed by anyone. And I would like to add here कि राजा हर वक्त अतृप्त रहना चाहिए. He should be always thirsty. ज्ञान के लिए अतृप्त, प्रजा की सेवा और अच्छी तरह से कैसे की जा सके उसके लिए अतृप्त, ह्यूमन वैल्यूज और स्पिरिचुअलिज्म अच्छी तरह से पुनर्स्थापित करने के लिए अतृप्त. A king should always be thirsty. An individual should always be thirsty, should never be satisfied. He could be content, but he should not be satisfied. He should always be thirsty for acquiring more knowledge. He should always be thirsty for striving excellence. He should always be thirsty for rendering more and more service for mankind. We are here to understand from you. हमारी हिंदू संस्कृति जो सबसे पुरानी संस्कृति है, और रामायण एक आदर्श अद्भुत ग्रंथ जिसमें हिंदू संस्कृति की पहचान, वो पहचान और उसका स्वरूप बहुत निकट तरीके से हम देख सकते हैं, समझ सकते हैं. हिमालय से लेके सिंधु तक, जैसे आपको मालूम होगा कि हिमालय का ही और सिंधु का इंदु करके जो हिंदू शब्द था उसका अपभ्रंश हिंदू हुआ, और हिमालय से लेके सिंधु तक समस्त हिंदुस्तान में रहने वाली जाति हिंदू और अपनी हिंदू संस्कृति, उसमें हमको वापस खोज करनी चाहिए. Let us go back. Let us go back and start taking a dip into the vast knowledge that existed at one time, the vast knowledge that is present, and the vast knowledge that we should imbibe to execute, to implement. Here I see all the like-minded people who have taken a definite direction. What is applicable to us is applicable to you. What is applicable to you is applicable to us. We are all going in a common direction for a common cause of humanity, of mankind. And here I may state that I am from Rajkot, and this institution, in order to spread its wings, I render all my support for any of the work that you would have in Rajkot. I am there for you. Likewise, my fellow brothers from all different parts of the country would be equally helpful, would be equally eager to support the cause. And we are also very happy to be here. You see the cheerful faces of all the families who are sitting here. These 2 days we have been really enjoying, we have been experiencing. We have been experiencing silence, the golden silence, the all-pervading silence. And it is because of your spiritual vibrations in your campus that we are feeling that. We have been very honored to be here. I would just like to share a few things more with you when I have this opportunity. That attitude is the mental view, mental disposition, the axis of the body. Where does it turn? Out of varying situations and circumstances, how do we change? How do we adapt to situations? Our mood, our emotions. It is important to attitudinize the attitude. We must attitudinize the positive attitude. And the inspiration that results, the arousal of feelings, the motivation, they come together to make a leader. And a leader is a one who rules, who guides, who listens, who has compassion, who has all the time, easy accessibility. As in the first, when Ms. Demise was telling us, she said that we should move from micro to macro. She's absolutely right. If I'm told to clean this table, I should clean it in such a way that it's sparklingly clean. If I try to see myself, if I take a dip within me and try to improvise, if I try to see that, yes, my family, they get all the benefits of becoming good individuals and progress in society, then I can further on look to a group, to the society, to my region, to the state, to the nation, and then to the world at large. It should always be from micro to macro. Inspiration we take from simple incidents. Simple incidents we take an inspiration in the flash of truth. When it strikes on us, we are swept away. One single incident can change the whole direction of our life. I would just tell you a simple incident which is of my great-grandfather, who was ruling in the year 1910 when there was plague in Rajkot and the people were dying in Rajkot because of the plague. At that time, you know that the rulers were all powerful. And he was told to leave Rajkot because of plague. He denied. He said that when my citizens are suffering, I cannot leave the state. And when at night he went for his usual rounds, he saw an old lady who was shivering in the cold. And he ordered that a mosquito net should be given to this old lady immediately. And because it was about 12 o'clock at night, no shops open, the mosquito net could not be procured. And he ordered that from his own bedroom the mosquito net be brought and given to her. This is inspiration. When there was drought in Rajkot and there was no water facility available, at that time, when he went to his usual rounds in the city, he sees, let me first again give you a background of Rajkot, that Rajkot is in the center of Saurashtra. Geographically located, it is in the center of Saurashtra, where from Rajkot you could go to any other region of Saurashtra. It was a prominent place. A political resident was having his residence in Rajkot. And the political agent was all powerful in the region. When there was drought and he went for his usual rounds, he again saw that why there is greenery, why there is a good garden in the residence of the political agent. And he sees that when there is a shortage of water, when people are not getting water, how do I say this green area, this green pasture in the told that this is the residence of a political agent, and there's a special pipeline which goes to give water to the plants. He said, what? When my citizens are not getting water, you are giving water for the garden, the pipeline should be cut immediately. Now to go against, at that time, against the political agent to cut the pipelines was not an easy thing. For this action of his, he was sent for a year to London, which he went. But here comes the inspiration. I am sure that every individual from the past has something to learn, and in the present has something to act. And hence, I think we should change our attitude. We should have the positive disposition and strive for a better life, for a better future, and let this institution be a training ground for all of us. I'm again, before I end this, I'm again very thankful to you, and hence, since I am in want of words, I will only thank the Dadiji here and all my beloved brothers and sisters of this institution by merely saying Om Shanti.
स्वर्णिम दुनिया में फिर से वो राजकुमार और राजकुमारी बने, इन्हीं भावनाओं से उन्होंने आपको बुलाया था कि आप आएं, योगी बने और सहयोगी बने इस कार्य के लिए। धन्यवाद। और अब मैं निवेदन कर रहा हूँ, वैलेडिक्टरी एड्रेस देने के लिए हमारे मध्य में परमादरणीय महाराजा गोपीनाथ गजपति जी यहाँ पधारे हुए हैं उड़ीसा से। आज ही वो पधारे हैं और बहुत हम उनके आभारी हैं कि वो यहाँ पहुँच गए हम सबके बीच, और अभी वह आप सबको वैलेडिक्टरी एड्रेस देंगे। आप जैसा कि हमें मालूम है कि आप 2 बार भारत की पार्लियामेंट के भी सदस्य रहे हैं, बहुत सी आपकी विशेषताएं हैं और आप जन जन के सहयोगी हैं, आज भी उनके कार्यों के लिए सदा तत्पर रहते हैं। परमादरणीय महाराजा गोपीनाथ गजपति जी से मैं निवेदन कर रहा हूँ।
ओम शांति। Let us commence today's auspicious proceedings with an invocation to the Adi Devata, Lord Vigneshwaraya. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirbighnam Kurume Devo Sarva Karyeshu Sarvada. Respected President of today's auspicious function, revered Brahma Kumari Dadijis in our midst, other dignitaries on the dais, spiritual Brahma Kumaris and Brahma Kumars of Prajapita Brahma Kumaris Ishwariya Vishwavidyalaya, distinguished heads of the erstwhile ruling states and members of the Raj Parivars, eminent journalists and media persons, esteemed sisters and brothers. I am thrilled and feel much honored to stand before you and address this august gathering. In fact, I find myself in a situation analogous to a pygmy among a galaxy of spiritual giants, trying to deliver a sermon on the mount. The atmosphere in this holy campus is so electrifying that I am already experiencing the sensation of euphoria or instant well-being. At the outset, our esteemed organizers must be heartily congratulated on accomplishing such an exemplary and thought-provoking program entitled The Role of Royal Families in the Spiritual and Cultural Renaissance of India, especially when the world in general and India in particular are passing through a turbulent phase. Therefore, spiritual and cultural renaissance on a mass scale, including the royalty of India particularly, becomes so relevant at the present times. Without further ado, I wish to start my today's dialogue with a short verse. I want to relate the tale of a satiated heart in bliss, but who is there to listen? I want to serve the nectar of divine bliss in glasses full, but who is there to drink? This verse is best illustrated with the following narration on enlightenment. By nature, humans are actively oriented creatures. When this activity is directed towards attaining divine love, a person unites with God, the supreme consciousness. People in general execute all their actions with an eye towards the end result. However, the intelligent, discriminating, and dispassionate amongst them work for the welfare of humanity at large. Their objective is to bring about the salvation of people, nurture peace, harmony, and fellow feeling amongst them. Raja Janak and other great men like him attained supreme accomplishment by virtue of action itself. Keeping an eye towards public welfare, one should act with a selfless temperament. Any action that enables people to follow ethical norms, retain moral behavior, and carry out religious actions is an act of public welfare, since it elevates the lives of the people. There is a great difference between collecting a crowd of people and carrying out acts of public welfare. People under the influence of Rajas and Tamas consider collecting a crowd to be part of a public welfare campaign. On the other hand, the congregation of people gathered under the supervision of holy saints is indeed an act of public welfare under sattvic influence. All actions carried out with an objective to inculcate divine love in people, direct them towards the righteous path, reduce their faults and immoral behavior, enhance their virtues and righteous conduct, so that they may lead a happy, contented, healthy, and respectable life, are clearly of a selfless nature. Such actions in turn leads one towards attaining the ultimate divine goal. Worldly rewards are purely transient or ever-changing, whereas attainment of the spiritual goal is eternal. To attain salvation is the natural goal of every human being, for that matter of every living creature. All other objects and achievements gained in this life are bound to perish in the end, except salvation. Without fulfillment of the divine goal, an individual is but destined to go astray. Actions undertaken by selfless people are for a divine cause, whereas selfish people aim for worldly achievements. One who aspires and inspires people to be inquisitive towards the eternal truth is considered to be performing a sacrificial action, an action that is oriented towards love of the Lord. Absolute love has no form or shape, but it manifests itself through seva. This seva, rendered to the visible, enriches your love for the formless Lord. Your love for the divine then encourages you to be of service to this world. Lord Shiv has no need of your offerings of water or bilva leaves, but in order to give expression to your love for the divine, it is given a physical manifestation through rituals like pouring water, spraying vermilion powder, offering bilva leaves, and items like incense and lighted candles. To give an expression to our love for God, we perform worship. But how does God benefit by it? What does he gain from it? Are two very logical questions. Once you are on the path of knowledge, all external forms of worship become secondary. When you endeavor to please the Almighty, who is ever present in each and every jiva, you no longer need items or rituals of worship. Only virtuous thoughts and a beneficial outlook in the form of beneficiation are enough to take you towards the Almighty. Let us now delve a little into the aspect of God, the ultimate refuge. The pursuit of worldly pleasures and games, and well as gains, leave one with a desire for more worldly things and does not satiate one, let alone give happiness. Man should progress to a more ethical and meaningful level from this state. Elevation to the state of true happiness is possible only through faith. The Supreme Being has assured mankind, "Reach me, I will grant that happiness which you lack." Such a way is possible since God has established practical guidelines for one's conduct on the earth. God actualized the higher knowledge that lay buried deep within a person. This is done through a practical approach. Now, there once lived a man who longed for the riches a king traditionally handed over to those who sang his praise. With this goal taking firm hold of him, he haphazardly composed a song which cast aspersions on the royal lineage. The court poet, out of pity for this novice, turned abuse into flattery by a masterly touch of the grammatical technique. All experienced true happiness to everybody's relief. Like a mother waiting for her son's arrival with a tastefully prepared meal, Lord Shiv also looks forward to the devotee's homecoming. He is the catalyst who brings to the fore the Mula Mantra or primordial sound Om, latent in a person, by creating the right environment for a soul. God is like a huge reservoir where all aspirants converge for cleansing. The accumulated dirt of previous births or the sinful deeds in the current life can be washed away, but only He can purify the ego that covers the soul. He offers His sanctuary and protection to all. Like doting parents who laugh even when their infant kicks their bosom, He envelopes His flock and absolves them of all faults. However, when a person harms other human beings, God does not condone it, and His justice will prevail. Many great men exhibit magnanimity by pardoning their enemies. However, Lord Shiv's tolerance is so astounding that He absolves the devotee of all aberrations targeted at him. Often, the motive behind any act will be self-serving. Even the celestials are not exempt from this aspect, which is why they and the demons churn the milky ocean for the elixir of immortality. God, who is above all this action, stayed aloof and came to rescue them by consuming the poison Himself. No wonder that He is popularly addressed as Lord Nilakantha as well. He is the easiest to attain when a devotee embarks on the right path. Well, this narration in essence forms every human being's ultimate aim and objective in life. Very rightly, our respected President introduced two very thought-provoking aspects to us earlier during this discussions. He asked us to do self-exploration of what is the main duties or our responsibilities as human beings as we have come into existence in this world today. And at the same time, ultimately, the question arises, what is this precious human being's ultimate aim and objective in life. As you are all well aware, we have the great epics in the form of the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, as well as the Srimad Bhagavat. Side by side, we have the Bhagavad Gita, or the songs celestial, which I dare say answers each and every aspect as well as all the questions a human being can be confronted with in this world. From this rahasya of the Bhagavad Gita, I would like to enunciate before you